No, no. Yes, sir. Welcome to Three Black Guys with the Mic 2020. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, with all new episodes. Lamont Hayes, Maynard Scales. I am your host, Spud. We are back in the building. Gentlemen, how does it feel to be back on the microphone in 2020? Lamont, what is the deal, my brother?
Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to squeeze some of this $49.95 Purell and get my hands hand sanitized. Give me 1 second.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I mean, so did you just finish watching the Pornhub? That's the reason.
No.
We
got
wait. The X videos. I'm sorry, the X videos. I'm sorry, my bad. The X videos.
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know why you needed a hand sanitizer.
Because we have the Corona. No, I think it's the Heineken, or is it genuine draft virus?
Who came up with that?
It's so many viruses. I have no idea what's going on.
Hey, man, I washed my hands right before. Maynard, did you wash your hands?
I've been washing my hands all day, 15, 20 times today, at least.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. So, Lamont, what's been good, man? What's happening?
Hey, man, it's 2020, man. We back. A lot of people have asked a lot of questions. So we just going to let the podcast speak for itself. You know, I definitely want to first start out giving a super duper shout out to Herbcaster Media. A lot of people have been asking me, who is that? Who is that? Let's just say that's the company that put us back together. So shout out to Herbcaster. We got some good things coming in 2020, along with just Three Black Guys with the Mic. So, you know, just kind of stay tuned. So we just don't get back in the chair. You know, a lot of people out here, you know, we don't want to diss anybody, but, you know, we got some people out in these streets, they biting a little bit, Maynard or Spud, but we don't let that go. You know what I mean? That's
all right. That's how you make it with bootlegs. You know, yeah. I mean, it would be no Tyler Perry if it wasn't no bootlegs.
Right. So, you know, the original Three Black Guys, you know what I'm saying? We are H-E. Let me make sure I spell this right, Maynard. You're the educator here. Is it E-R-E or E-E-R or what is it, Maynard?
Three?
E-R-E.
T-H-R-E-E?
I don't know. We back. Can we do that? B-A-C-K. We back.
We back. It's good to be back. That's what's happening.
All right, so let's get started with Lamont. You wanted to talk about Lil Yachty's brand new video that he basically dressed up as Oprah. And, you know, in his Bopra video, which Oprah and Gayle King, which is your girl, that was actually when she finished her last little, you know, what's her thing? The little life tour that she's doing. And they talked about Kobe Bryant, which was foul, but that's a whole other story. But you wanted to get in Lil Yachty's video and you had a problem with it?
Well, first, let me clarify. You know, there's no secret that I was a super fan of Gayle King.
So no longer.
I'm just a fan, not a super fan, because Gayle knew better, like everybody else has said, you know, on the topic. We just, you know, I don't know. And the same thing with O, you know. It's very interesting that O just sometimes she can't stand up on stage by herself.
That's not nice. That wasn't nice. That wasn't
you
nice.
know, I enjoyed the meme where it had Kobe Bryant doing a crossover, you know what I'm saying, with wings on and tripped up Oprah, but whatever. But here's my thing with the Lil Yachty thing. It's like this whole dress. It's like, why are all the young brothers in dresses? What are we doing? Dress.
What's wrong with, you know, him wearing a dress? I mean, Martin Lawrence wore a dress. Tyler Perry wore a dress.
Then you're going to say, well, Prince wore a dress.
No, but Prince did wear some heels because you tried to hit me on that one good time.
Oh, yeah.
Cole had on the heels. What's wrong with, you know what I'm saying, dressing to the way that you feel? I mean, you know, look at, what's my man's name? What's Will Smith's son? Jaden, you know what I'm saying, Smith? He is like, yo, I don't identify with any gender. He had on a dress, a Louis Vuitton dress, but he had on a Louis Vuitton dress. I mean, what's the problem here?
I mean, again, I think wearing his dress is like, it's like consuming chitterlings.
In what way, Lamont?
First, let me just say this, Lamont. How How come you can put so many syllables in the word? Because it's been chitlins all my life. It was Lamont is chitterlings.
No, if we're going to use the King's English on this podcast,
okay,
it's chitterlings.
No, that's the slave.
I mean, here's the reality. I do believe it's a choice. You're right. This is America. If you want to get down and wear a dress, you wear a dress. But in my opinion, I think like the comedians wore the dress to try to get the funny. I think what Lil Yachty and them were doing for the video was to get the
clickbait.
Yeah, the clickbait. A little bit of the funny, but more of the shock. Maybe that's what I was going for. But like I said before, I'm still kind of angry a little bit about what's the Drake record where everybody's in the bathroom and they're switching lights and switching clothes and all these other brothers are in the mirror wearing dresses, giggling, putting on panties. I mean, like, man.
Panties.
man, would you put on a pair of pink panties to be in a TikTok video with your young one?
No. I'm not putting on panties. I'm not putting on panties. I'm not doing that. Panties, Pantene. I don't even want the damn shampoo. Sound too close to panties. I don't. And for me, it ain't even about being like homophobic or whatever the case. That's not it. I do believe that I am this type of man. I'm not that type of man. There's some guys who are comfortable with that. I'm not.
What's the this and what's the that?
I'm this type of man
I can know
that's
if I can get with this or if I can get with that.
I'm the type of man that's not doing that. I'm not putting on panties. I'm not getting in a dress.
No heels, no nylon.
I'm not doing I'm not doing that. Now, there's people out there. Martin Lawrence was Shanae, and he was doing it for, Phil Flip Wilson style, where Geraldine was concerned, and he made a career out of it, and that's fine. And that's for Martin. And I'm not saying anything about his manhood. My manhood is not going to allow me to do that.
So also, you never played dress up with your daughter?
Yeah, I never played dress up with my daughter.
Wait, kind of man is it?
What I'm saying is
that a Republican pivot? What was that, Maynard?
No. What I'm saying is she and I have never played dress up. That's not been something that she and I have done. But if my daughter wanted to paint my face, I'd let her do it.
What's the difference between that and putting on panties?
First of all, Lamont's question is, would you put on panties to be in a TikTok video?
Okay.
Nobody's ever recording me doing anything like that. Now, if it was required to entertain my daughter and to keep her company and to be a part of her life, was that she wanted to put some fingernail polish on me or put some lipstick on me, and this just between she and I. That's first of all, that's personal between my daughter and I, and us spending time together.
Put that lipstick on. Let me see what it look like, boy.
Maynard, I'm starting to look disappointed, Playboy.
Nah,
let me
you
see
ain't
what
gotta
it
be
look like,
disappointed.
boy.
No, and Lamont, don't be disappointed. And you would definitely.
I mean, you my guy. Like, Maynard, you're a manly man. Like, you use Ivory soap. You know what I mean?
No,
I'm not using Ivory.
Hold on, first of all, you kind of personal with my soap.
First of all, with the coronavirus going around, nobody should be using bar soap, period. All right? Nobody be using. Don't put no bar soap on your body. Don't do that. No damn Irish Spring on your body. If you over 40 years old, you should not be putting no Irish Spring on your body already.
Let me ask you a question.
First of all.
Why not?
Ivy Spring is the same thing.
Why not though, Spud? I mean, soap is soap. It works, don't it? It don't work.
No,
hold on, you telling me
that germs going around for you to be, lathering up.
No. Hold on. I mean, so you saying it has to be? Why? Doesn't soap get you clean? And doesn't soap clean itself?
No, man. We too old for that, man.
Okay.
No, and no. The way y'all don't drink white wine is the way I'm telling you guys. You should not be using no damn hand soap. Period.
So everything got to be the liquid soap.
I mean, it should be.
Really?
Yeah.
I really wasn't even using liquid soap.
You mean to tell me that y'all grown ass men got bar soap hanging in your shower with leftover.
With the little leftover surfboards.
No.
I'm sorry, Spud. First of all, let's get this clear, and I want to be very clear. And I've said this on this podcast.
He about to get very clear with us.
First of all, I don't share a bathroom with anyone, not including my wife. So the only soap that's in my bathroom
is your soap.
Is my soap. So I'm it's not Carol's daughter. What Shay's Moisture?
Y'all some bougie Negroes.
So yeah, and my man is up to $5.99 a bar, right? And I'm just feeling like I should be able to get his soap. Like
I ain't mad at you supporting my man. I'm just telling you that I don't think that you should be walking around here putting bar soap on your body. When I go to, you know what I'm saying, a hotel or we go overseas or whatever the case may be, I'm not putting bar soap on my body. My wife brings my soap with me.
Damn. Bring my soap with me.
Not like that. No. Wait.
Let me tell you something.
Hold up.
Where's my soap? Where's my soap?
No. We're not playing that. I'm just saying that you should not be using bar soap in these streets, and that's all my point is. Just like I think it's okay for this young generation to be able to express themselves in a very fashionable way. It's all fashion. It's the same way that Deion Cole got on the reel and basically said, I don't know why everybody's going off on me, talking about my bell bottoms and my velour, you know what I'm saying, suit. It's a little questionable, Deion, but he had on the bell bottoms. He likes bell bottoms. Why, you know what I'm saying, are you out here talking about the man? He want to dress that way. That's his right.
I didn't talk about him. I don't have no problem with him. I'm not doing that. And that's my business, and he's doing his thing. He's living his life. But,
well, here's all
it's
I'm
questionable,
saying,
though.
I'm going to park it here. Is that it just seems a little funny to me that, you know, showcasing a masculine male, a masculine African-American male is just on a decline, bro. Period. That's what I see.
On the decline? That's been since we've been brought to this country. That ain't on no decline.
Watch this. So now you just hit a grand slam on my point exactly.
Lamont said you out here. In baseball season is just around the corner.
With the coronavirus, we may not get a baseball season this year.
True. That's real. And they do a lot of traveling in baseball. So, you know, I mean, who knows, man. But I just feel like somebody wants to dress that way, that's their business. I'm feeling, first of all, I'm feeling a little sideways because every time I look up after every award show, the day after, I got to see all the recaps of Billy Porter in all his dresses, and I'm tired of that.
Oh, come on. Billy Porter's fire. Come on, Lamont. Back me up, homie. You not feeling it? Come on. Oh, come on, Lamont. Back your hands up. Okay. All right. You're going to remember that. You will definitely regret that. Let's move on to politics. Listen, it is down to a two-man race right now. Bernie versus Biden. Who is best for the country, Maynard?
I think best for the country, either one is better than Donald Trump, obviously. But if I made no bones about this in the past. Joe, I'm on Team Biden. That's who I rock out with. I think who's best for the Democratic Party, I think it is Joe. I think Bernie has done a phenomenal job, grabbing progressives, but I think he's going to lose the moderate and the slightly conservative portion of the party, let alone lose a lot of slightly more moderate Republicans that may jump the fence. And so,
can you define for people who don't know what's the difference between moderate and progressive?
All right, so if you look at both parties, and both of them have all three of these factions, if you will. Progressive is very, very liberal, if you will. It's the sort of progressive wing of the party, where Bernie is more closely aligned to socialism, as Bernie is, more closely aligned to, seeing to it that a woman has a right to choose and those things. And that's not to say that Democrats in general don't believe in a lot of the same things where, abortion rights are concerned, or where gay rights are concerned, or these other things. the moderate side of the party is like, yeah, I really believe in that, but I'm not prepared to go out and die on the hill for that. That's like I want us to have, good tax policy. I want us to have good policy overseas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But some of those things I don't have to sell all the way out for. Progressives are a little bit more passionate. And then there's the slightly center left portion of the party, which are like, on a good day I might be a Republican on certain topics, but, maybe out of 15 topics, 13 of them I'm a Democrat on, and 2 of them I'm maybe a Republican on. That's kind of like the center left. And it's vice versa for the Republicans. There are going to be some Republicans who are like, yo, neo-Nazism forever, segregation forever, right? And that's the way crazy, hardcore right wing. And then there's some Republicans who are like, we don't have to kill Negroes every day. We can take off Tuesdays.
So tell me why, you are Team Biden.
Well, first I would say I'm a liberal Democrat. I'm not quite a far progressive Democrat, but more personally, Joe Biden and my grandfather had a relationship politically years and years ago, and the Biden family and my mother's family, my grandfather, have been connected for several years. So every presidential inauguration, we receive so many tickets from the Biden camp. If we need a favor in the past, I don't suggest that I just can pick up the phone, but if we needed a favor in the past, where write a letter for somebody or whatever the case may be, he's been there. But beyond the personal thing, I've watched how Joe Biden operates, and I think where he makes mistakes, he's doing so genuinely. He doesn't intend to be harmful to anyone, and when he gets it right, he's doing so genuinely. He's not.
So touching a woman and whispering her ear, those are okay mistakes.
I think that he was being a genuinely nice person. I don't think he was trying to be sexual or salacious with her. I think he was.
How do you know?
He's being Uncle Joe. He's just like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And he wasn't like grabbing her behind.
So you know what I'm saying? Going up from behind and whispering and kissing in the girl's, ear. That's okay.
I think if in proper context, I think it was fine. It was not the smartest thing to do.
Did he say in proper context?
It was not the smartest thing to do.
I'm sorry, man. Can we put this podcast on hold so I can call my wife and see if that's okay if I go kiss another woman behind her ear, and if it's done in proper context, it'll be okay? So, can I do that? Can we put this podcast on hold?
Do what you want.
Side, or is that the progressive, or is that the liberal side? Was that the liberal side, or is that the?
I think that's the side that
we
we have to recognize that Joe Biden is. I mean, he's not a perfect person. I don't think he at all meant anything by it. He didn't mean to be like, "Yo, I'm trying to hit later on," and if you don't give me, it wasn't the kind of harassment that we're discussing with the Harvey Weinstein or where.
Yeah, but this is more than one woman. This wasn't just like one girl.
Right. What did he do? I mean, again, it still comes down to what happened. He gave somebody a show of affection. Hey, how are you? I want to tell you I'm supporting you and I love you and I think you're doing great things, etc. He wasn't like, yo, let me put my hand between your legs. He wasn't like, yo, I'm trying to grab your ass. He wasn't like, yo, let's see each other after this so I can show you my special sausage. That's not what happened.
Yeah, one time there was a president of the United States that said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And it came out that he had sexual relations with that woman. Okay. Anyway, Lamont, who is better for the country in your opinion?
I'm sorry, just so we're clear. Did Maynard say something about a sausage?
I mean,
what is this podcast about?
Ain't nothing but a sausage party.
Did you say sausage, Maynard?
I said sausage, yeah. Sausages. What's the problem with sausage?
What kind of sausage? Is it a mild sausage? A hot sausage?
Well, wait a minute. Let me state equivocally. As close as our families have been, I am not familiar with Joe Biden's sausage or his sausage preference.
Sausage, baby.
Okay.
Nah, it's not no andouille sausage. Bro. I can tell you that's probably not. We ain't got a whole bunch of deer in that part of the country. It ain't gonna be no andouille. Definitely gonna be some pork. I'm imagining. Now, if it's maple or sage, I don't know.
if he gets in, can you write a letter and see if we can be the official podcast of the Joe Biden campaign?
We're already the official podcast of the Joe Biden campaign. we gotta ask him. We just listen. Just say it. Just say it. Yo, hold on for a second. Let me get this right. Hi, everyone. This is Maynard Scales, and this is the official podcast of the Joe Biden campaign. It's three black guys, right? Including me, Maynard Scales, Lamont Hayes, and my man Spud Spence. We are all for Joe Biden. Or, no, actually, Spud is not, but that's okay.
I am not.
Oh, okay. Not right with Uncle Joe?
No, I'm not.
He's a Bernie fan.
I'm not a Bernie fan, but I am rocking out with Bernie this time because I think that Joe Biden, first of all, Joe Biden, in my opinion, has not said anything to me or anyone, in my opinion, of what he is going to do to move the country forward. I just have not heard that. I hear a lot of the same old, which is, you know, I'm a lifelong Democrat, which, you know, I got my question marks about that. And I'm an Biden, you know what I'm saying? Obama, Biden, Democrat. That's the same thing. I'm not really feeling that. To me, Joe Biden says the same exact thing that the Democratic Party has given black folks for the last how many ever years. And that is absolutely nothing. If either one of you guys can say to me what Barack Obama has done for black folks, if that is going to be something that Joe Biden is going to expand on, okay, then maybe I can reconsider that. But I just think that it's the same old thing, and I'm not feeling that this time.
Well, here's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to just park it really quickly and simple. None of them are ever going to say anything to you directly. Well, not directly, excuse me, to you and your people. I mean, black people. That's not the way this is designed.
Wait. Is this podcast called Three Black Guys with the Mic? Is there only two black guys on there? Why is it my people and not our people?
Okay, I'll take that. But here, and that's right. I'm just gonna say that and just leave it right there. Just like Barack, as they said, he wasn't the president for the black people. He was one for everyone. But he didn't, you know. And we can talk about some specific things that may have affected some of our community, but overall, as other communities, as we had in group chats and offline, listen, man, we're not part of the Hispanic community. We're not part of the Asian community or the Jewish community that a lot of presidential candidates and presidents in the past do things for specifically. That's not what we are. Our ice ain't that cold. Our ice is melted.
So that means we're basically supposed to continue to give our vote to somebody who is not going to reciprocate the things that. Yes, we are.
Yes,
is that modern day slavery?
No, listen.
Yes. Master, we're going to continue to give you exactly what you need, so you can be able to tell us what you're going to give us, but we don't really get it.
And you know why? And you know why, Spud? Because you've been lied to and told. Well, you know your ancestors, they fought for the right to vote, so you have to vote, even though they're not giving you anything for your vote. Yes.
So there's no line in the sand with that.
So we're supposed to just continue
unless you stay home.
I'm so confused by both. So Lamont, are you saying that we've been lied to, that our ancestors fought for our right to vote?
They fought for the right for us to have the vote.
Okay.
Not that we have to vote, but just for that particular right, which means you have a choice.
I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, sure, you have a choice. But we also have to recognize that for some reason in Georgia, the Secretary of State for the state of Georgia decided to purge voting rolls to prevent a lot of African Americans and other minorities from voting. And so this happened in Kansas, and it happened in Florida, and in other places. If voting wasn't powerful, why would they continue to keep it from us? If voting,
I did not say
no. I'm not saying
where those votes are directed towards those communities.
I'm not saying that you said that. I'm trying to speak to, I think, the general affect that people have out here, where they're like, I'm not going to vote. My vote don't count. If your vote didn't count, then, you know, why was there a whole campaign against us voting for so long? Votes do count, and it is important. And I just want
we didn't say that they didn't count.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you, Lamont. I'm not talking about you. I'm saying in general.
Yeah.
And so we run into a snag in the podcast where Spud is practicing his Mr. Roboto impression.
Oh, am I? I didn't mean to be Mr. Roboto.
It's all good. It's all good.
Anyway, go ahead. Finish, Lamont. So you done, Lamont? So you basically said, let's just all continue to just we shall overcome?
I mean, that's pretty much what we're doing. Yeah.
But that's what we should continue to do.
Yes. Yes.
Oh. Hey.
I mean, you didn't see the video walking across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and what's the brother's name, Mr. Lewis? You know, God bless him, and as he's going through his battle with his health, because that's really important. But you know, he's out there giving the same old speech of we're going to continue to fight and blah 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 blah. You didn't see that video?
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen them all. I know the history. I'm just asking, why is it that we should continue on with repeating the history? Because we were told to?
Yes, because it's a definition of insanity.
No, you mean to tell me?
Yes.
So you mean to tell me that it was okay for, for Malcolm X to have a different, it wasn't okay for Malcolm X to have a difference of opinion from Martin Luther King or from Stokely Carmichael or from the Black Panther Party? So we were supposed to just continue on, with doing the same exact thing that they were doing? Like, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We weren't supposed to speak to a white woman. Oh, we weren't supposed to walk on the other side of the street. Oh, we weren't supposed to, sit in the front of the bus. So you know what? No, somebody said, look, no, we need to definitely make a change in this situation. We need to actually sit in the fucking front of the bus of the bus. Somebody got to make a change.
I hate, but Bernie's not listen, all of them, just by any stroke of a banana peel or I don't know, the coffee or tea might be too hot, they might stroke out on us, brother. So if that's the change,
was going to be my last question in this topic. So, Maynard, what does it say about, 3 or basically 2 in this case, 2 older white Democrats elected or in the running for the Democratic Party?
This is America. This is America. We've 44 out of 45 presidents have been white men. Is that right?
That's true.
So then, I mean, it's not a surprise that we have 2 white men who are running for president, 3 white men running for president currently. This is America. What's the shocker?
Big shocker to me. Okay, moving on to Public Enemy. I can't trust it. I can't trust it. Man, and I know that Public Enemy is one of your favorite groups. How you feel about Flavor Flav possibly being fired?
Is it possible? I thought it was a done deal.
Well, from my understanding, what Flavor Flav said basically is that Chuck cannot fire him because they are partners in the actual group.
Well, I would say this.
Him not being a part of Public Enemy, how do you feel?
It doesn't bother me.
What? You mean to tell me if Public Enemy came to Hampton, Virginia in concert, you would buy a ticket just to see Chuck D? And now I can't trust it? Or 911 is a joke?
So 911 is a joke, and what, she watches Channel Zero and...
Don't believe the hype?
I don't need Flav for those.
What?
I don't need Flav for that.
You know.
No, I don't. I mean, look, the message. Look, we know this. Who is the primary and the lead MC of the group? It's Chuck. We also know this. Hell, the Temptations and the Four Tops and the Supremes and every group in history. Van Halen threw out one of the guys, and his last name was Van Halen. I mean, groups break up. It happens. It happens. It is what it is.
Lamont?
I mean, unless Chuck D's going to come to my house and take my CDs, I don't care. I mean, I got the music already. I spent my cash. I used to work at Def Jam back in the day, so I got all the promos. I got the remix. I got all that, so I'm good.
I think that the thing that does disappoint me is how public this Public Enemy, how public this whole thing became. It was, Chuck releasing the press release, and it was all over the Facebook and the internet and the Twitter feed and the copy of it, and not Spud, what's his name? Flav responding, and that was all public, and it was all about Bernie Sanders or whatever. That was all. But let's be honest. Flav left the mission and left the charge of what Public Enemy was years ago. I mean, we remember him letting some 6-foot-plus white woman from Sweden call him Foofy. That was some clown foolishness right there, in and of itself. Unfortunately, there was issues with drugs and addiction, and that's unfortunate.
You skipped over Flavor of Love, by the way.
Right. I mean, I was about to get to that.
Can we not talk, please? That's personal for me, if you don't mind.
Okay. What's personal about that?
I don't like talking about Flavor of Love. If you gentlemen just don't mind.
What's wrong with Flavor of Love?
Nothing. I just don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Can we talk about Tiffany? Can we talk about New York? I will say this for Flav and Flavor of Love and all that, just to not to tread on Lamont's feelings with this. I give Flav props. I mean, as a result of his program, it created a couple of stars. So Tiffany Holland, who later was known as New York, she got her comeuppance as a result. I mean, a few other those young ladies kind of came up and got their little, 5 minutes of fame or 10, 15 minutes of fame as a result. And, it's the gift that kept giving. So good for that. But, by and large, I don't want to say that Flavor Flav was a clown. Okay, yeah, I will say he's a clown. I had to think about it for a second, and yeah, he's a clown.
You didn't wear a clock back in the day?
No.
Never wore a clock?
No.
Never put a clock on?
On the wall, yes, but not on mine. I'm going to answer that question the same way every time, Spud. No clocks. I did not wear a clock. Now, was Flav entertaining? Sure. But, I mean, now, what Chuck says is, I wrote all of Flav's lyrics. I wrote 911 as a joke for Flav to rhyme. I wrote, much of his, even his ad-libs and his hype stuff, I wrote that. That's what Chuck says. So, and then Chuck also said, Flav says we owe him so many millions of dollars. I want to see the 30 songs he wrote. Chuck said he got receipts. So, I mean, isn't that the term that the young folks use today? Chuck got the receipts, and Flav don't.
Okay. All right, so we're moving on to a new segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen, called Lamont is in his feelings. Lamont, what are you in your feelings about this week?
Well, first of all, I'm in my feelings about a whole lot, but we're just going to go with this one about recording artists being ungrateful. So, as everybody on the podcast knows, I've been in the record business for over 20 years, and I've seen a lot come and a lot go. And this whole Meg Thee Stallion kind of had me in my feelings. For those who don't know, Meg Thee Stallion got on Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat, and might even did a TikTok about how these people didn't do this, and boom, 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 and they can't release my music, and they could do that, boom, bam, boom. And then once you get past all the emotion, you come to find out this company, this guy who is a baseball player, I had to look it up, that made over $150 million over his MLB career, so he ain't hurting for cash, comes up and like, yo, man, I ain't been paid in X amount of months or years, and I done put out $2.5 million, and she ain't called, and we ain't did this. And I'm saying to myself, here we go again with an ungrateful artist. I don't know Meg Thee Stallion personally, but she makes some good records. I'm liking, I'm rooting for her. But for all these new artists out here, you need to learn. Don't bite the hand that feeds you out here. You got to watch what you do with this TikTok and this Instagram and Facebook and these bridges you burning and X, Y, and Z. Because it's like, it's always more than one way to skin a chicken or a cat. Speaking of cats, Maynard, why do they always say skin a cat? Like, is that what we really were eating when we go to the Chinese restaurant as kids? Well, that's a whole nother story. But
is this part of you being in your feelings?
Yo, dog.
Which one? It was about Megan Thee Stallion or about the Chinese restaurants?
Well, I'm just like in my feelings, like, yo, we ain't got to put everything on Instagram or Facebook. I'm just still in my feelings.
God, that's how you get likes and everything.
Listen, man, you just can't do that. Like, it's just more than one way to skin a cat. That's all I'm saying. So, Maynard, stay off the Instagram. And that's what I'm in my feelings about.
I'm on IG like that?
I saw you the other night. You
I'm
was up in the
popping.
bar.
Am I popping on each IG? Is that what's going down? Did
your likes are going up, bro. I ain't gonna front.
My
You know
likes.
what I'm saying?
Oh, man, I'm viral out this piece. I didn't know. Shit, what did I do? I didn't do nothing, I don't think. But okay, I'll take it.
You had some whiskeys, you know what I'm saying? And you hit the record
okay.
button.
Right.
You up in the bar. You know how the little kids do it, pointing the cell phone at themselves, and you recording yourself at the bar. I'm like, look at Maynard. Like, what is this?
Oh, okay. My bad. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean to be like trying to shine out here in these streets, but, you know, every once in a while I need to be able to shine out in these streets. Can I do that? Can I do that just a little bit?
I mean, it's all good, man.
I ain't got 20 years in the record industry like you, Lamont. I ain't got 4 years at Def Jam. I mean, I ain't got, you know, me and Andre Harrell ain't got each other's phone numbers. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on that level. I want to get my shine on just a little bit.
Okay. All right. You all good. You can have that.
Okay.
All righty. In your feelings about Megan Thee Stallion.
Be grateful out here. You know what I'm saying?
So are you saying that artists ain't supposed to have what they? So I feel like you coming at her a little bit kind of what you call it
Well, here's my first thing is that you said her. See, here's what women.
She's not a her.
Yeah, she's a her. Absolutely, very beautiful young lady. Absolutely. But I think women. Oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Oh, nobody will ever hear this, so we're fine.
No. You don't know. You don't know.
I think they use it as a cop out. You know what I'm saying? I think if it was a guy, I think it would have been worse because somebody might have got slapped. You know what I mean? For the level of the way that she did what it is that she did and how she did it. It was almost like she was trying to bully, you know, the production company that spent millions of dollars on her before there was a 300, before there was a Hot Girl Summer, before people were driving the boat. I mean, this man, literally, he spent $2 million. So first and foremost, he hasn't been paid a dime, 1 red cent of his money back. Not a dime. But Meg is out here in these streets collecting the show money and wasn't sending no money back. So we gonna say that it's okay that my man didn't get a check. He didn't get one check. 300's telling him it's coming. And I know how that distribution thing sometimes is 3 to 6 to 9 months out sometimes. So she can eat, but he can't eat? No, that's not right. Period. It's not.
Well, you know the record business.
Yeah. So again, it's just, you know, also I think the female portion of it, people want to listen to her, but they didn't want to get the other side of it. And when my man, you know, got on the air, you know, shout out to Isaac Hayes. He did the interview the other day. Dude spoke out and was like, yo, this is, you know, like I don't have 8 million followers. So, you know, I can't get 8 million people to listen to my story, but here's the real story. And when he said what he said, I said, yeah, that's right.
You know, they say investors can and do lose money. I mean, he made an investment. He ain't getting paid, but she did the work. I mean, shouldn't she? Somebody bought those albums, right?
Here's what it is. Let's move on to there's an Indiana Olive Garden that fired the manager because the manager decided that they were going to basically grant the request of a white woman who said that they did not want any non-black servers, that they wanted a non-black server. And so it made me, you know, just kind of curious to say, well, is that racial or is it just preference? So I start with you, Lamont. Is that wrong that the manager said, you don't want any black waitresses? Fine. I will give you some white waitresses and everything will be okay.
But did you not just say, is it racial or preference? Like,
is it racial or is it preference?
Or I just have a preference to have this whites only drinking fountain. Or I just have a preference to, you know, you darkies, you sit in the back of the bus. I mean, I'm confused.
I didn't say nothing to that, nor did she. All I'm just saying is that the lady. No. I said the lady said that she would not a non-black. She would like a non-black server. So do you not have preferences? When you go to the bar and you order a Kettle One with the grape juice on the side. Don't you have a preference of the type of, you know what I'm saying?
Aren't you ordering your Kettle One with grape juice?
Yeah. No, he said grapefruit. He said grapefruit.
He said grape juice, but okay, he meant grapefruit.
Oh, he did?
I'm sorry, I meant to say grapefruit juice. That's my bad.
Okay.
You know, don't you want a preference when you go to a nice establishment? Don't you want a preference of the person who serves you? Maynard said he wanted a preference of the woman that he served on the previous podcast. Don't you want a preference?
Well, in my opinion, I think Maynard is a sexist.
Because
ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding, ding, ding, ding, ding. I likes the ladies.
Yeah, if I'm in a restaurant for the food or for the drink, my priority is the food or the drink, not the person that serves it. As long as the food and the drink is up to par, it can come, a goat can drop it off. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, so that's just my focus. And my wife will tell you all the time, I don't care how I get the food as long as I get it. I don't care how I get the drink as long as I get it. Now, what I do care about if I'm at the bar is that if I'm in a bar that they give me a plastic cup, that's when I'm going to give my hat and my coat and I'm leaving. I don't know that. Period. So
that racial? No, just kidding.
That's a preference. You know what I'm saying? If I'm somewhere and they give me a little bitty plastic cup with the clear one and a little bitty plastic straw, then I'm in the wrong place.
Man, what do you think?
I mean, obviously it's racist, and we understand that. And the first part about it being racist is, you know, look, you're preventing this black person or this Indian person or this Chinese person or whatever non-white person that you happen to be discriminating against. You're preventing them from earning money. It's not like, you know, waiting tables is the highest paying job, right? You know, they work for tips, and, you know, there's that. On the that's on one hand. The second part of it would be, you know, if it hadn't been for black people feeding white people in this country, white people would have died. We were our black mothers nursed their children. We worked in their kitchens. We kept their homes. We did all those things. And, let's just keep it in perspective where that's concerned. But on the other hand, you know what? Good. We don't want to serve you. Because you're not going to, because the way this man or woman who happens to be non-white, because of the method through which they make money is through tips, you weren't going to tip them or treat them with respect anyway. So, we're glad, we should be happy to not be forced to serve somebody who doesn't like you. Now, the manager should have basically said, what was the name of the restaurant, Spud?
Olive Garden.
The Olive Garden. And there's a couple, or was it a big family, or do you know?
It just says a white woman.
Okay. She came to the Olive Garden. She probably was, and that's probably the best Italian food that she has, and she thinks that she's somewhere special. If I'm the manager of that, I'm saying, ma'am, you're $26.95 that you're going to spend on endless breadsticks or whatever. We don't need your money.
Yo, my guy, are you taking a shot at Olive Garden customers?
I'm just saying.
Are you trying?
Yes, I'm taking a shot. Yeah, I'm taking a shot. If you think you're going out,
we know how to get down in Philly on the Italians. You know what I'm saying? I've been on. Is it South Street? Is that what you call it?
South Street, yeah.
Yeah, one of them streets where the trolley ends or something. We know the Italian heritage in that town. So you telling me the Olive Garden is not hot?
I mean, Olive Garden is a phenomenal restaurant if you want the breadsticks and the never-ending salad, and you want to pay $14.95 plus tax and tip. I mean, yes, go to Olive Garden. I don't have a problem with that. Darden Restaurants was one of my best clients for a bunch of years. Olive Garden and Red Lobster. But I'm saying, if you want to come in here and be picky about whatever, and you want to be a fine diner because you don't let black people or Chinese people or whoever serve you food, you know what? You probably came here on some Groupon biz or whatever. Take your biz, take your little money, and your little, because it was Friday and you got paid, and this is the time you get to go out and go somewhere else. If I'm the manager, first of all, anytime I've worked with people or had people in my employment or who reported to me, I go to bat for them. And if you're going to come at my people crazy, I don't need you. You're not going to make us enough money that my year is going to be better because of you. I'd rather just let you go. We don't. I don't. Sometimes you got to fire.
So
customers.
the manager should have not been fired, in your opinion.
Did the manager? What did the manager do?
The manager granted the request.
No, yeah, he should have. That manager should be fired. You stand with your people. Stand with your people. You stand with your people. That woman may never come back again. I told them how I wanted it and I got my way. When are you gonna go back and spend, $6,000 in there? Oh, I'm not going back. That was on a Groupon. The Groupon don't come up again. I'm not going back. No, stand with your people, because that waiter or waitress, non-white waiter or waitress is going to be your employee for a lot more times than this one person has the capacity to come in and spend $30.
Lamont?
I mean, what you want me to say, man?
What you got to say is what I want you to say.
First of all, I don't eat at Olive Garden. Be clear, I live in.
Oh, now you taking a shot at Olive Garden?
Right, you taking
a shot at Olive Garden.
They don't got plastic cups at Olive Garden.
No, and listen, I don't get down like that. I live in northern New Jersey.
They got
just
Olive
like
Garden
Philly,
in northern Jersey.
It's some real Italians up in here, bro. You know what I'm saying? So my red sauce got to be a certain kind of way. I don't play.
So you saying that only non-blacks can serve you at an Italian restaurant? Is what you're saying.
You know what I hate to say?
What you're saying.
No. You know what I hate to say? And this is 1,000.
All right.
The restaurant we go to, you're right. There are no blacks that are right. They all from Palermo or Sicily or something like that, and they ain't black. You're right.
You know what's funny? I'm sorry, and I hate to say this. This is like, I always ask this to my wife every time we go to this. It's not Benihana. It's called wasabi, but it's little. What's that called? The Benihana style hibachi. And I'm like, and I saw like the little black, you know what I'm saying? Not the little black. I'm sorry, I said that. I saw the black guy. He was one of the hibachi people, and I was like,
black.
yo.
I saw the little black.
Let that go, because I
did not mean it like that. Wait, I didn't mean it like that.
I saw the little black. I saw that little black
guy.
Come here, you little black. Come here, you little. Well, Lamont called us donkeys a minute ago.
Right. So I saw the black guy, and he was back there. You know how they do it at the hibachi joints. They do the little choo-choo train, and they flipping the onions and all that other, doing the ting, 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 ting. And I'm thinking to myself the whole time, like, why is this black man in here in this damn hibachi restaurant doing all of that? Like, this is buffoonery in my opinion. But then I had to check myself and say, you know what? This man may have went to culinary school. This man may have wanted, this may be his lifelong dream. He may not want it to work at, beans and cornbread or anything like that, or Southern Fires. He may have wanted to, step it up a little bit. So I had to check myself.
But you're telling me that this man cracked an egg, threw it up in his top hat, and you telling me that was his lifelong dream? He put the oil and onions and smoke. He cut the heads off the strip tail. And that's culinary school? That's what we doing, my man? Come on, guys. Need some help on his body.
Hey, man, listen, man. Some people have dreams, man. Some people have dreams.
So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be done. If I go 7 Mile and Myers, and for those who don't know, in Detroit, there's a cross section where there's a soul food restaurant called Motor City Soul Food.
Always packed.
Always packed. If I go in there, and this is no disrespect, if I see 3 or 4 Asian ladies back there flipping over the greens and the macaroni and the meatloaf, I'm leaving. I'm out. I'll see y'all later. I'm gone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Cactus of the Week. This is where somebody says something extremely stupid or did something extremely stupid, and they have to choke on their words. Maynard, who is getting the cactus, my man?
Yo, what's going on? The Cactus of the...
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute.
What's the problem?
Wait a minute.
That's why we got to take the button away from this nigga.
Wait a minute.
What's
You
up?
mean to tell me Lamont didn't get no intro, but you got applause?
Oh,
okay, that was foul. That was foul.
So, listen, I'll have to take a little shot at your main man, B. Sanders. I like Bernie. I don't dislike Bernie. but he continues to discuss the 60 billionaires that have helped Joe Biden get to where Joe Biden is. I'm looking for the 60 black billionaires of South Carolina that Joe Biden was able to finagle into giving him money, where he beat the snot out of Bernie Sanders and the rest of the pack. I'm looking for the 60 black billionaires somewhere in the country that have been supporting Joe Biden everywhere he goes. The honest truth here, Bernie, is he's beating you. He's beating you. It's nothing that has nothing to do with billionaires. It really doesn't. Stop making this the point. Michael Bloomberg was running against all of the field. He was running against Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren. He was a billionaire. So was Tom Steyer. He was running against all of the field. The problem, unfortunately, is your populist message is very attractive, particularly to a lot of young folks. However, as we start to sweat it out and we recognize that we have 3 or 4 things that we really want to accomplish, one is winning the Senate, so therefore down ballot voting is critical. Keeping the House, if not strengthening the House, therefore down ballot voting is important. Winning the White House and doing so in key places. You don't actually have a plan for that. We can see that where Joe Biden has won in North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, and so on through the trek through the South, he's winning in states that we need to win. And if you can't beat Joe Biden in those states, you certainly can't beat Donald Trump in those states. We don't need you or need anyone's help to flip California to blue. It's been blue. The last time California went for a Republican, it was Ronald Reagan. So the fact that you won California is wonderful for you, but that's going to go Democratic anyway. We need somebody who can win the tough states. We need somebody who can win in North Carolina, in Tennessee, in West Virginia, in Oklahoma, and the like, in Arkansas. You can't do that, unfortunately. So, as you continue to blame the 60 billionaires, of which I don't know how many of them are black, because it's been black women who have carried Joe Biden to this level of success. It's been Joe Biden who actually has not had a huge ad budget on the air. He's not spent millions of dollars across the country on radio or television or the internet. In fact, Bernie Sanders, you have spent significantly more money than Joe Biden and many others. Your spending is on par with the Liz Warrens of the world. Now, no one was close to Bloomberg or Steyer on spending. But you haven't been out here, saving nickels and holding on to dimes either. You've been out here spending money. Please stop saying the same things and trying to malign another Democrat, or I'm sorry, not another Democrat, a Democrat, because remember, you're actually not a Democrat. Stop trying to malign a Democrat with the same slurs that you maligned Trump with, because it's not the same. And if, for some reason, Bernie Sanders, you get the nomination of the Democratic Party, you got my vote. But I'm going to need you to fall back and choke on some of this cactus. And that's my word.
All righty. Thank you so very much for that. A little unfortunate, but I'll take that.
Why?
Last word?
Wait. Why is it unfortunate? Because he wants homeboy to choke on a cactus?
I mean, Bernie got to choke on some cactus. Okay. That's fine.
They're going to kill that man. You know what I'm saying? He's old.
Shit. Joe Biden would be the oldest president if he gets elected.
Bernie's older than Joe.
True. How old is Bernie? Bernie's what, 78? And Joe's what, 77?
Yeah, I mean, he's older than him by like about a week and a half or something. it ain't like no years.
He said a week and a half.
They were definitely in the same damn nursery. I mean,
So are you both saying that both Bernie and Joe Biden, their grandparents owned slaves?
I don't know.
Is that safe to say? There's a possibility.
All I know is Joe Biden in his history,
In his history. In his history, what?
I said his grandparents.
I know you said his grandparents.
I don't know anything about Joe Biden's grandparents, but what do you mean by Joe Biden in his history?
I don't know. I'm just not feeling Joe.
Okay, and you know what? That is a good enough reason. I mean, I wasn't feeling Howard Dean simply because I just wasn't feeling Howard Dean, and it is what it is. I mean, sometimes you don't have to have nothing more than a feeling. We know that a lot of people voted for Donald Trump simply because I like him because he said he's going to make America great again, and that's really not a true position.
But then that's still going back with these guys. And Maynard, we've talked about this on the podcast. My other issue with all of this, Joe and Barry, what's his name?
Bernie.
Barry Sanders. Bernie, is that no matter who you put in there, if that House and that Senate is still raggedy, and most people who don't focus a lot on their local elections and what's happening to them locally, all of this money and energy and who you like and what you feel, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's why I feel like Joe is more important, because I think he's going to really help down ballot voting, that he's going to help flip the Senate. He's going to do a better job with that than Bernie. So that's kind of where I feel where Joe's going to, outperform Bernie.
Okay.
Mr. Spence?
I wish Joe would have said, comment. What, did I miss something?
I'm sorry, I didn't
Hello?
understand. Yeah, we're here, homie, we're here.
Oh.
You know we need, Maynard?
What's that?
A Mr. Roboto drop for any of us.
A Mr. Roboto drop. Okay, no problem. We get one.
All right, we are out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for listening to this episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. We will do it again next week. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Make sure you tell your friends. Make sure you go to iTunes, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you rate and review the podcast, because that is how we get noticed in these streets. And we definitely need to get noticed. Until next week, guys, have a fantastic week. Peace out.